Studying the association between education level and cigarette smoking. Education and smoking. Is there a connection? The American Lung Association reports that various disparities continues to be a key indicator of various tobacco patterns. Previous research has shown that individuals with a lower level of education tend to smoke at an increased rate by various factors. From the CDC, smoking prevalence remains highest among adults with a high school diploma or less, and additionally, Johns Hopkins researched lifetime smoking patterns in a birth cohort. The big question. Is there an association between individuals' level of education and the number of cigarettes they smoked per day at their peak use? Understanding this relationship can help provide insight into how social and educational factors influence various behaviors. We can examine how education associates cigarette use when moderated by age. With this, we may guide targeted public health interventions and create strong smoking prevention strategies. The data collected can help identify various groups at a higher risk and create solutions. And as a community, we can potentially reduce smoking-related diseases and improve population health. This is the sample, database, and procedures. My methods and measures. My explanatory variable was categorical and asked respondents what was the most recent degree you've received. My response variable is also categorical, asking when you smoked the most, how many cigarettes a day did you smoke, and the moderating variable is age, restricted to individuals 25 to 34 years old that were grouped into 2-year categories. From the WAVE IV study, these are the questions asked respondents all across the US. Univariate data examination of level of education. Out of the 3,622 participants, the greatest proportion represented was bachelor's degree, which was 32.77%, and the smallest proportion was PhD degree or equivalent, 0.39% of the population. Those with a bachelor's degree were 84 times more likely to be represented in the data collected compared to those with a PhD or equivalent. The bar graph is bimodal non-symmetric distribution, and when calculated, the median is the associate's degree bar. Univariate examination of cigarette use. Here we have a pie chart. Out of the 1,767 respondents, the largest proportion were those who smoked 10 or fewer cigarettes, being 46.63%. On the other hand, the smallest proportion was 31 or more cigarettes, 6.79%. In context, individuals were 7 times more likely to smoke 10 or fewer cigarettes compared to 31 or more a day. Here on our pie chart, we can see that the largest group was 10 or fewer cigarettes, being 46.63%, and the smallest group being 6.69%, 31 or more cigarettes. For our bar graph for our age, which was the moderator, the distribution is unimodal and roughly skewed right, and the mode is bar 3. Bivariate data. We have a mosaic plot and a two-way table, and we ran a chi-square test. Since the p-value is 0.0001, this is showing a statistically significant association between a person's education level and their highest use of cigarettes. When moderated by age for 25 through 26, the p-value was 0.0834, showing no significant association. For 27 through 28, the p-value was 0.0008, showing an association between the two. And similarly, for 29 through 30, there is also a clear significant association of a p-value of 0.0095. And for 31 through 34, they were grouped together to better analyze the data because the groupings were smaller. So the p-value for this group was 0.2743, showing no association. Across the 6 Bonferroni tables, we examined the association between education level and peak cigarette use. They revealed a mixed pattern. 3 of the comparisons showed no significant association, which is an indication that lower to mid-level education groups did not differ in their smoking at peak. In contrast, 3 of the tables demonstrated a significant relationship. The most extreme was table 1 versus 4 with a chi-square value of 46.5. This shows the most drastic difference out of all the tests ran. Based on the overall population, there was a clear shown of significant association between the two variables. One also being moderated by various age groups, it allowed a deep dive in understanding age groups and how they affect the variables. The strongest differences came from comparing bachelor degree holders with lower education levels, indicating that there could be a factor against heavier smoking. The study helps reinforce pre-existing research from organizations to help demonstrate the relationship with contributing age groups. We can also keep in mind possible confounding variables or resources such as income, occupation type, and stress levels that were not evaluated in this study but could have contributed for different results. As a community, we can organize support groups, healthy coping mechanisms, possible medication, and other ways that we can reduce cigarette use throughout the population. My HO was education level and highest use of cigarette independent, and which showed no association. And then the alternative would be education level and the highest use of cigarettes are dependent. And testing at a significance level at 0.05. For our bivariate data, we reject the null and accept the alternative. And when we moderate by age, we have 2 that fail to reject the null, but we have 2 groups 27, 28, and 29 and 30 who reject the null and accept the alternative, showing that there is an association between education level and peak cigarette use.